Hello, good glorious Saturday morning, everyone. And it's so lovely to see all of you. First up, I'd like to say hello to all of our wonderful senior volunteers. If you're there, say hello too. Yay! I think we've got some of our wonderful people joining us already, and well done. Thanks to all of you. And definitely, we've got some of our viewers over at YouTube and Facebook. Hello to you there too. My name is Arabelle, and I'm so incredibly honored to be hanging out with you this morning. Definitely, of course, because this is our sixth run of our NSVM 2020, the National Senior Volunteer Month. And this year, it is so special. Tell you more about it in just about a wee bit. And it's been 6 years already. Yes, we're going stronger, definitely. And this has been incepted since 2015. And of course, it was then, in the same year, it was launched by our then president, Tony Tan, at Topayo Hub. Now, of course, RSVP's objective is to promote volunteerism among Singaporeans by working with social service agencies to create volunteering opportunities to serve the underprivileged in our society. And well done to our volunteers who've been doing a great job. Now, through this, RSVP hopes to inculcate the spirit of giving back and encourage Singaporeans to volunteer regularly. Now, what's special about this year's NSVM? Well, we're in this virtual space right now. That's where we are all meeting one another. And of course, this is our very first entirely virtual NSVM. Well done. Give ourselves a big round of applause. It's very nice to hear your response. Well, this pandemic has somehow changed the way we live, we work, we play, as well as we volunteer. So how do we then encourage more seniors to step up to the game and also keep yourselves safe when you are volunteering? And what is the role of digital technology in senior volunteerism? The focus of NSVM this year, 2020, is embracing senior volunteerism in this digital era. Now, there will also be a highlight in our program later, RSVP's first virtual panel discussion, volunteering in this digital era. Now, you can find out more about this at 11 a.m. with us, and you can also learn how volunteerism virtually is going to take place, enabling seniors to volunteer, and how organizations and individuals could enhance the volunteering experience. Well, we will also be creating 100 volunteering activities, and this is definitely very exciting, mobilizing close to 300 volunteers, reaching out to more than 10,000 participants between July and October 2020. So roll your sleeves up and get into the action. Now, we're going to be having a breakout session this afternoon after the close of our morning's event, and there will be various talks by our government agencies and other social service agencies this afternoon, and they are also recruiting for more volunteers. So please sign up as much as you wish. Now, to register for our afternoon's breakout session, please contact 90405695. Well, you can see numbers on your screen right now. While the National Senior Volunteer Month 2020 NSVM is organized by RSVP Singapore and supported by Council of Third Age and Ministry of Culture, Community and Youth, championing the SG Cares movement. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are ready, I am so ready to kickstart this morning's event. And of course, to do us the honor, let's welcome Mr. Ko Dway Ming, PBM, Chairman of RSVP Singapore, to give us his welcome speech. Big round of applause, sir. Good morning.
Dr. Janil Puttachari, Senior Minister of State, Ministry of Health and Ministry of Communication Information, Mr. Tan Kok Yam, Deputy Secretary, Smart Nation Digital Government Office, distinguished guests, friends of RSVP, my fellow senior volunteers, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning. Welcome to National Senior Volunteer Month 2020. NSVN in short this year is a special as it marks the first time we are conducting it on a fully virtual platform. COVID-19 pandemic has presented unprecedented challenges to everyone in the sector. Staying at home may be the new norm, but we want to continue to contribute to inculcate the spirit of giving back and encourage Singaporeans to volunteer regularly. Our theme this year remains Retire with a Purpose, but our focus is on embracing senior volunteerism in the digital era. We aim to engage 1,000 volunteers through at least 35 unique volunteering opportunities with our community partners to benefit the less privileged over 4 months from July to October. Leading up to NSVM, we have been hard at work developing a new approach for our outreach and engagement. This includes Zoom engagements, moving our monthly face-to-face open house to a virtual platform, as well as conducting virtual IT classes and volunteering training. As part of RSVP's plan to constantly engage our volunteers, we started Stay Home with RSVP. This series of virtual activities in the midst of circuit breaker, we curated a wide range of weekly activities that our senior were hosted and produced by senior volunteers. I'm proud to share that we have kept more than 700 volunteers engaged over 40 webinars, virtual activities, and chat sessions since the series started in April. We also launched Tele-Befrienders program in collaboration with MOE Uplift Program Office to provide care and emotional support to at-risk students during home-based learning period in April. Through Telegram and phone calls, our volunteers check in daily on students to ensure that they are coping well at home during circuit breakers. This allows our volunteers to continue safely engaging and mentoring them during this period. As Singapore move forward as a smart nation, video conferencing has become an essential way to stay connected during this pandemic. It is important that seniors in the community are not left behind. I'm proud to share that our tech-savvy seniors volunteers have stepped forward to produce useful step-by-step video tutorials in various languages and dialects. Basically, we have Hokkien and Cantonese on how to use Zoom. These videos are posted online and shared with our partners, organizations, and the beneficiaries. A prime example of one senior who has embraced technology during this pandemic is Mr. Gurdip Sim, 67 years old. You may recognize him from recent National Day Parade morning segment where he was featured as a profile for the digital defense pillar. It was through this volunteer work with RSVP that Gurdip took the step to learn Zoom to host RSVP first ever virtual open house. I remember all the preparations that went into this first session. Seeing him becoming more and more confident makes me proud that he is our senior volunteer. COVID-19 has changed the volunteering landscape. As a looking forward organization, RSVP, our driving senior volunteerism nationwide, we need to be agile and be able to adapt quickly to the new norm. This afternoon, we are conducting a panel discussion on volunteering in this digital era, where each panelist will bring their unique insights and rich experiences from the nonprofit, corporate, and the public sector, the 3Ps. Through this, we hope to spark new ideas on how seniors could contribute, be empowered, and create impact in the community, even while they are identified as high-risk demographics in the pandemic. I'm looking forward to this exciting conversation later. Recently, I hosted a chit-chat sessions with my volunteers through Zoom. It was very heartwarming that many of our seniors are eager to start volunteering again. In fact, they keep telling me, when can we start? I told them soon, and here we are. We have partially restarted our weekly volunteering activities, which include exercises in our befriending program since July over Zoom, virtual. We also piloted a new smart wellness program in collaboration with the Good Life Medical Center to bring health coaching and preventive health care to seniors in the community. Do keep a lookout for our upcoming Seniors Wellness Center, which will provide multiple partners to co-create a safe space for seniors to learn the latest technology and apply this in their daily life. I call it applied learning for seniors. This is a partnership with Singapore Pools, Capital Land and Community Chest. I'm excited to announce also a landmark collaboration with Smart Nation and the Digital Government Office, and we will engage and empower our seniors to drive co-creation and digital literacy. Through this MOU, we'll recruit 500 Smart Nation ambassadors annually. Our guest of honor, Dr. Janil Puttachary, will elaborate more on this during his speech. In closing, I would like to thank our supporters, Standard Chartered Bank, C3A, SG Cares, for their ongoing support to NSVM, as well as all our partners for NSVM 2020. Thank you to the organizing committee, my volunteers, my very hardworking staff. Thank you very much for making NSVM every year a reality. And last but not least, we have led the senior volunteering flame 5 years ago, and we will continue doing it and make sure that this flame doesn't extinguish. This pandemic will not be the end of volunteerism. Instead, let's put a spotlight on e-volunteerism. Let's work together to build a more inclusive society, both virtually and physically. All of us, please stay safe, stay healthy. I hope you have a fulfilling time at NSVM 2020. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Cole. Yes, definitely. Mr. Cole has said it that volunteering is now the new thing. And of course, we are going to say good job, guys and girls. Good job to all of our senior volunteers for the past 5 years. And this is the 6 years. You guys have been doing wonderful. And of course, definitely right now, voluntary takes on the new shape. Now we're going to be volunteering remotely as well. So you know what? Getting yourselves involved in activities like this actually has got a whole host of health benefits for you as well. Continued learning, continued engaging yourselves in meaningful activities, and more importantly, you continue lifelong learning. Well, there you have it. So do continue what you guys are doing best, and well done, kudos. Now, next up, ladies and gentlemen, of course, this morning we're so incredibly honored. We have the company of our guest of honor, and he is none other than Dr. Janil Puthucheary, Senior Minister of State, Ministry of Health, and Ministry of Communications and Information. And right now, it gives me great pleasure to hand the session over to him for his opening speech. Ladies and gentlemen, here you go.
Mr. Kojo Meng, Chairman of RSVP, and my good friend, and RSVP volunteers, Smart Nation ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. I must say a little bit about Meng. You know, the passion that he brings to the cause of volunteerism, I think, is evident to us all. And it shows that you can get some wonderful things done by having the drive, the passion, and bringing a group of people together to find fulfillment in something that they do on behalf of all of us. So thank you very much, Meng, for all that you've put together here at RSVP and your chairmanship. Well done. A good morning to all of you who are gathered here. We're celebrating another year of seniors volunteerism, and we want to say thank you for your contributions to serving our community. This National Senior Volunteer Month is your annual signature event for RSVP Singapore. It started out as a week, a senior volunteer week, and in 2015 it was rebranded as it gained traction amongst the senior volunteers here in Singapore. Every year, RSVP organizes, in partnership with at least 40 social service agencies and government agencies, and it reaches out to more than 1,000 volunteers to encourage the spirit of volunteerism. The growing number of volunteers is a testament to the good work that RSVP has put in and demonstrating the joy of giving back to the community. This year's theme is Embracing Senior Volunteerism in this Digital Era. It's timely in today's context. COVID-19 has presented all kinds of challenges to every aspect of our society, for everyone. It's reinforced the need for us to embrace and adopt technology, especially now that we've got to learn and work from home and interact with each other, make transactions online. This trend had started before COVID-19 had come along. It was the way in which the world was going, and it was something that we in Singapore saw as part of our future to create opportunities for the next generation. So COVID-19 didn't change that, it just made it go faster. And hopefully we are ready. And today's online event is an example of how we have to get used to new ways to stay engaged and make it work and deliver for us in this new era. This can pose challenges to the community, but I'm happy that RSVP volunteers continue to be adaptable and steadfast in helping the community. Actually, this is one of the key things that our seniors, whether they are volunteers, whether they are our mentors, our teachers, uh, can show us. I include me as the young generation. Can show us because in their lifetime, they have had to adapt. They have had to demonstrate what it means to be steadfast to a cause. And now, as seniors, they show us how to volunteer and have joy and fulfillment in giving back to the community. So they're great role models. In this digital era, our seniors are still great role models for us to be adaptable. One of them, Madam Florence Lim, 73 years old, volunteering with RSVP for a decade. And she's been in RSVP's mentoring program for 4 years. And now she leads a team of volunteers conducting activities at a senior activity center. She hasn't stopped the pandemic to help to hasn't stopped the pandemic from allowing her to help others. And she started e-volunteering in August and now conducts regular online activities and exercises over Zoom to keep the beneficiaries in the center actively engaged. There's many more people like Madam Lim out there, and we're grateful for their efforts and wish them all the best. We in the government, we also have to play our part and develop new digital platforms to engage Singaporeans. This year, the Smart Nation and Digital Government Office, SNDGO, we launched an online initiative titled #Smart Nation Together. This platform was built to engage and equip citizens with the relevant skills, the mindsets to utilize technology to overcome COVID-19's disruptions to our lives and our jobs. Today, more than 6,000 participants, I mean, it's really a very heartwarming number. 6,000 participants have benefited from 80 online programs for children, young parents, working adults, and seniors. The sessions have helped our seniors gain in confidence in using digital solutions such as Trace Together, Safe Entry, support gowhere.gov.sg, as well as other digital government services such as SingPass Mobile. Our senior volunteers have also stepped forward to support the Smart Nation Together initiative. When GovTech introduced the use of Safe Entry to support contact tracing efforts, Steric Tan, who's 71 years old. I don't know if I should be saying everybody's ages, but I suppose once you're a senior, you're quite proud of your Steric Tan, 71 years old, Smart Nation ambassador, was concerned that many seniors would not know the various methods to check in when they visit malls and supermarkets. With the help of SNDGO, he brought together and arranged, he curated teaching materials, organized a Zoom session to teach seniors how to use Safe Entry. Another passionate volunteer is Noor Jahan, 60 years old, RSVP volunteer, wanted to help seniors understand the benefit of navigational apps. She offered to conduct a lesson on how to use the My Transport app from LTA as well as Google Maps, helping seniors search for bus and train routes. And I can imagine this sort of session very much appreciated by the senior participants who signed up, because this is how you help to make your life a bit easier and a bit more convenient moving around town. Many Singaporeans have embraced the digital platforms with ease, not just the young people, but many senior Singaporeans. But there are some who do not have access to such digital platforms. There are seniors who feel cut off from their friends and their grandchildren, miss their daily routine of social activities, the interactions at the community clubs. The government, we are committed to build an inclusive digital society. What does this mean, an inclusive digital society? It means a Singapore where every Singaporean is empowered with digital skills. You know how to do the interactions, the transactions online. Every Singaporean has the means to access digital platforms. That means you have the ability to get online, either through a phone or a tablet or a computer, and the data connection. And this is why we have formed the SG Digital Office under IMDA in June this year. To date, the SG Digital Office has supported 16,000 seniors, and we've set up 30 SG Digital Community Hubs around Singapore to reach deeper into the community and ensure that our seniors are well supported at each step of this journey as they become more and more digitalized. Actually, as their lives become more and more digitalized, we are all human, but our lives, the things that we do, the way in which we interact with each other, that becomes more and more digitalized. We are hoping to open up 25 more of these hubs at libraries in the coming months. IMDA has also launched the Seniors Go Digital program to strengthen digital literacy and access among seniors. With this program, seniors can look forward to learning digital skills through virtual classes, one-on-one coaching at community centers, small group learning with their friends. You have groups of seniors doing this together, supporting each other, and conducting hands-on learning opportunities. Even with all of this effort, there is room to do more to bring Singaporeans along this Smart Nation movement. It probably will never end. It's a movement, it's a journey. We have to keep on with this. And I'm glad that we have partners like RSVP who are organizing an engagement session with volunteers and partners on behalf of Smart Nation. This will be part of the larger national effort that we're calling the Emerging Stronger Conversation to reflect on, to discuss issues related to digitalization and technology during this COVID-19 crisis, using the challenges that we face during COVID-19 to think not just about how we overcome this crisis, but how we remain steadfast, adaptable, and ready for the future after COVID-19 is over. I encourage all of you to come forward and share on how we can better steward a better Singapore together. Beyond ensuring digital access and literacy for all, Singapore's Smart Nation initiative is also about fostering an active citizenry and a more caring society in which our citizens help each other, step forward and help each other along this journey. While these conversations take place, the stories, such as the ones that I've told, Florence, Steric, Noor Jahan, actually, and many others, including Mr. Kogushemin right here, show that there are already ground up efforts from the seniors in the community to work together with the government to make a difference in bringing all of us along the smart nation journey. I'm very pleased to witness the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between SNDGO and RSVP today. We'll take these ground up efforts one step further. And it takes this type of partnership between a government office and a group of volunteers driven with passion, working in the community. This is how we reach everybody and make sure that our efforts are most effective, taking it one step further. The MOU will serve to drive deeper engagement with the senior community on tech issues, cultivate a pool of tech-savvy seniors who can help each other on the digital journey, and develop a training curriculum for our larger Smart Nation Ambassadors network. The stories I've shared today, it shows us that Smart Nation is not just for the young, it's not just about the young, and it's not just by the young. Our seniors have an equal part to play. They will benefit, they can teach us how to do this, they can take us along the journey. We must never think that this senior generation is in any way left behind. Actually, RSVP and the work that they do, they show us that seniors can lead the way. They can show the way and lead the way and bring us along the Smart Nation journey in digital adaptation of our lives to transform Singapore and Singaporeans' lives, whether it's about COVID-19 or how we emerge stronger into the future. I wish RSVP and its volunteers a very happy and fruitful National Senior Volunteer Month. And thank you all very much for watching.
Thank you. Thank you so much, our Senior Minister of State, Dr. Janil. Well, that was absolutely encouraging for all of our senior volunteers all together, and coming from his perspective, Singapore being an all-inclusive society, yes, nobody is being left behind through this digital age transformation, transition, as well as adaptation. Now, next up, we're going to move into the MOU signing ceremony and this Memorandum of Understanding between RSVP Singapore, the Organization of Senior Volunteers, and the Smart Nation and Digital Government Office, SNDGO. Now, this is going to be sealing a partnership to engage seniors in the co-creation of Smart Nation initiatives and digital government services. The 2-year partnership will help seniors enhance their digital capabilities and expertise and encourage more seniors to join the ranks of Smart Nation ambassadors. We call them the SNAs. The aim is to raise 500 SNAs annually through RSVP to cultivate a pool of seniors who can become digital coaches as well as advocates. Together, RSVP Singapore and SNDGO will also co-develop an online learning portal for SNAs to pick up soft skills and information on Smart Nation initiatives. As this online learning portal is open to the public, one can find courses such as familiarization with digital government services, how to work effectively with youth, and even how to operate drones for leisure plays. And now, as everyone can see, we've got Mr. Tan Kok Yam, Deputy Secretary for Smart Nation and Digital Government Office, together with Mr. Koh Jue Ming, Chairman of RSVP Singapore, who have signed the MOU, very happily celebrating this momentous occasion. And of course, we would also like to thank our Senior Minister of State once again, Dr. Janil Puthucheary, for witnessing this momentous event. Ladies and gentlemen, this is such a happy occasion as we move forward, stronger and bigger. RSVP Singapore, hooray! Woohoo! Definitely another significant milestone for us this year in 2020. Yes, we'd like to thank our gentlemen again. Thank you so very much for doing us this incredible honor, especially our guest of honor, Senior Minister of State, Dr. Janil Puducherry, for hanging out with us this morning. Thank you. Well, yes, ladies and gentlemen, this was a very, very interesting signing ceremony. And thank you so much for tuning in and joining us, whether you're watching on Zoom or you're with us on YouTube or you're with us on Facebook. In fact, Dr. Janil mentioned earlier about the ability to be able to communicate or to even use your mobile phones, and so on to in order to keep in touch with the whole world. And you know what? On Facebook, I think it is a very clear example. I've seen a lot of our seniors as well as our members who are interacting with us on Facebook already. See, there you go. You already know. You guys are digital, man. And you are the experts. Well done, people. Okay, so coming up next, we're going to be showing a video, and this is a compilation of a virtual engagement activities that was held by RSVP during the circuit breaker period in Singapore. Now, they have been hosted by our volunteers for volunteers, and the activities range from cook with me sessions to chit chat sessions and even exercises. Now, if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's take a look at all these wonderful activities that has happened. Take it away.
Good morning, ladies and
Well, there you have it. Now, of course, more exciting programs coming up right here live for all of our friends who are watching this program and, of course, our viewers in the public space. Now, we've got the happy exercise next. How happy I am this morning and excited to bring them on. Now, the health aging promotion program for you, which means happy, aims to delay frailty by helping elderly persons maintain physical and mental health and prevent memory decline. Now, we've got our volunteers with us this morning, and first up, I'd like to introduce them. So we've got volunteer Genevieve Chua, the Vice Chair and Honorary Treasurer of RSVP Singapore, who is also a certified happy instructor, and she will be demonstrating the body number exercise that you can do at home to enhance your cognitive and physical health. Now, of course, next we've got volunteer Eung So King, who is a certified happy instructor, and she's going to be demonstrating some simple warm-up exercises you can do at home to loosen up your joints and increase blood flow to your muscles before starting any strenuous activity to prevent injury during exercises. Now, our volunteer Mali Grewal, a certified happy instructor, demonstrates some stepping exercises you can also do at home to keep yourself active and at the same time step away all your stay-home blues. Now, you guys are ready? The ladies are ready? Let's take it away with the happy exercises. Come on.
good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm So King. We are going to start the happy exercise now. Do the warming exercise. Just follow me and count. Turn to your we are having the neck and the face head exercise. Turn to your right and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Center to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Center and look up the ceiling. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Center and look down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once more. Turn to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 正面 and left 左边5 4 3 2 1正 and then 看上天花板1 2 3 4 5回正5 4 3 2 1我们来做一个肩膀运动 We're doing the shoulder exercise 1 2 3 4 5 and backwards 5 4 3 2 1 relax put up your hand just like stop sign use one hand and hold the other hand and your hand is straight and we count 10 count with me 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and you change to the other hand and count backwards in Chinese 10 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1放松现在我们做一个 rotation 用大圆圈的1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 backwards 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1好谢谢现在我的朋友玛丽 take over
Hi, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, seniors. I'm Mali here, and now we are going to do step counting. I'll be counting 30 steps in tens of first in English, then in Mandarin, then in Tamil. Let's begin. Let's start stepping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now in Mandarin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now in Tamil, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now we have done the 30 counts. We'll be counting now 21 with the multiple of 3s. Keep on stepping and count along with me. And every number 3 of 3s, we do clapping. We do not say the numbers. All right, let's start. 1, 2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, 13, 14, 16, 17, 19, 20. So we do 21 steps, and now the third and final ones we'll be doing count of 30. With every 3, we do first 3 tetare, second to 6 will be sate, and finally roti prata. Let's begin. 1, 2, tetare, 4, 5, sate, 7, 8, roti prata, 10, 11, tetare, 13, 14, satay, 16, 17, roti prata, 19, 20, teh tarik. 22, 23, satay. 25, 26, roti prata. And 28, 29, teh tarik. Thank you so much for joining me. Now I present my colleague, Genevieve. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Now I'm going to take you through the final happy exercise, which we call body numbers. And this is what's going to happen. I'll give you 6 numbers, and that will relate to a certain body part. So when I do my right, you do your right, and I do left, you do your left. Okay, so this is the way it goes. So if I would say 1, right shoulder, 2, left shoulder, 3, right hip, 4, left hip, 5, your head, and 6, stomach. Okay, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really good. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to march on the spot. You're also going to say it with me and point to the part. Why? Because when you do these 3 things together, it will help with your cognitive health. Okay, so let's get started by marching. See, follow along. And all right, so let's start with the in English. All right, so we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Really good. So now we're going to do that in Chinese. Okay, Hawaii. Ready? Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 很好. All right, finally we're going to do it in Bahasa Melayu. Okay, so let's start. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, really good. Okay, now what we're going to try, just keep stepping, because all of that multiple functional activity will help with your brain health. Okay, so right now I'm going to make it a little bit more challenging. So we're going to give you 2 numbers, and when I give you the 2 numbers, you're going to follow along. For example, if I say 1, 2,
1,
2, see? Easy. If I say 3, 4, how are we going to do? 3, 4. And if it's 5, 6, 5, 6. Excellent. All right, so now we're going to try, I'm going to mix up the numbers, okay? So let's start by marching. Okay, we're going to do 1, 4. 1, 4. Very good. So let's do the next one. We're going to try 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay, great. So now we're going to do 1, 5.
1, 5.
Very good. Okay, and then we're going to do 5, 2.
5,
2. Okay, and now we're going to try something a little bit harder. So we're going to do 3 numbers, okay? 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
All right, we're going to do 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then now we're going to try for the last 2. 1, 3, 5. 1, 3, 5. Very good. And the final one, let's try with 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6. Yes, excellent. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on behalf of Mali, Soke, and myself. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you. Thank you so much, our 3 lovely, beautiful instructors. Thank you. That was very fun. While they were, demonstrating the exercises, the happy exercises, I was also trying it out. It is not that simple. If you don't believe me, try it out yourself. 1, 3, 5. Go ahead and see if you can do so. It was a lot of fun, especially when Mali mentioned roti prata, teh tarik, and all. It reminds me of all the beautiful flavors of our local breakfast, and I so want to eat them all. But hang on in there. You got to do a little bit of exercises. Give yourself some, loading space in your tummy before you can load them on. So 30 minutes. Here you go. But before you do so, we've got the next up coming up very interesting program for everyone. All of you who loves music, especially you want to continue that happy spirit of volunteerism. Now, I've got something to share with all of you right here. Now, I've got some really happy people as well, and they are from the RSVP Ukulele Activity Circle. I tell myself, in no time, I am going to be joining them soon. Sign up. Okay, so they were formed like 8 years ago by senior volunteers who share the same interests in playing the ukulele. And since then, the UAC members meet every Saturday to jam along and sing along and to polish their ukulele skills. They often entertain at RSVP events such as performance at Sengkang Community Hospital, NSVM 2019. Yes, if you were there, I was there at ITE College Central, and also RSVP's 20th anniversary celebration at Marriott Tang Plaza Hotel. Now, of course, we can't wait. They're actually standing by already, getting their ukulele and their strumming fingers ready to hit off the happy notes just for you. Okay, so if you are ready, I'm so ready. Let's hear it from our UAC. Take it away.
One, two, three, four. Close the door, light the light. We'll stay home tonight, far away from the bustle and the bright city lights. Let them all fade away. Just leave us alone, and we'll live in a world of our own. We'll build a world of our own that no one else can share. All our sorrows will leave far behind us then, and I know you will find there'll be peace of mind when we live in a world of our own. Oh my love, I cry for you so much. Lonely nights without sleeping while I long for your touch. Now your lips can erase the heartaches I know. Come with me to a world of our own. We'll build a world of our own that no one else can share. All our sorrows will leave far behind us then, and I know you will find there'll be peace of mind when we live in a world of our own. And I know you will find there'll be peace of mind when we live in a world of our own. One, two, three, four.
春天的花是多么的香，秋天的月是多么的亮。
少年的我是多么的快乐，美丽的 on top. Hey!
这夜的光是多么的香，秋天的月是多么的亮，
少年的我是多么的快乐，
美丽的她不是
这模样。
Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the pink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. You work and work for years and years. You're always on the go. You never think of being it all. Too busy making dough. Someday you'll say you'll have your fun when you're a millionaire. Imagine all the fun you have in your old rocking chair. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the pink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. You're gonna think that ocean trip, no matter what may. You got your reservations on, you just can't get away. Next year for sure you'll see the world, you really get around. But how far can you travel when you're 6 feet underground? Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the blink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. You worry when the weather's cold. You worry when it's hot. You worry when you're doing well. You worry when you're not. It's worry, worry all the time. You don't know how to laugh. Then think of something funny. Then they write your happy time. Enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself while you're still in the pink. The years go by as quickly as a wink. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself. It's later than you think.
Woo! Wow, what a happy morning. Oh my God, that's really lovely. And thanks to all of our wonderful performers from the UAC. Yes, I'm definitely gonna sign up for this when I start to volunteer at my golden age. Thank you. What a happy afternoon, And we were like singing to all the happy tunes that they had been playing on their ukuleles, and of course, adding on to that was a cajon. Yeah. So that was like so fun, right? I hope you guys have had lots and lots of fun, dancing along the music as well, especially doubling it up with the step exercises that we have learned from our happy instructors earlier on. Now, of course, we've got more to dish out on our lovely, glorious Saturday morning right here as we bring forth the first ever entirely digital or virtual NSVM 2020, which is running for 6 years already. Now, later on, we will also be having our highlight at 11, so do stick around with us. Okay, so for now, just like to introduce our next performance. Now, DSA was started in 1996, and DSA meaning the Down Syndrome Association, and they provide support and enable a person with Down syndrome to attain his or her full potential. They have been running enrichment programs and classes for their beneficiaries. Now, due to the COVID pandemic, DSA moved their enrichment classes online, like many other VWOs, to protect the physical well-being of their beneficiaries and their families. Now, this include their class for the drum prodigy ensemble. Now, for the virtual performance, 16 of our DSA's drummers participated in an online workshop with their parents. The online drumming was certainly a very unique experience for them, and this is going to go down with a lot of cherished memories. And they hope that they'd like to share this with everyone as well. So, over to you, our young, inspiring, and very talented drummers. Take it away. fantastic performance. And of course, with our 16 drummers from DSA, we are treated to a loud banging percussion early this morning to wake all of you sleepyhead up. Well, I hope you are awake by now. You know, first up, we had the wonderful exercise to keep us company, and you can wake up to power your beautiful Saturday as well as the weekend. And not forgetting, we've got some happy tunes that have kept us company. And of course, now this really wonderful drumming percussion that make your hearts palpitate. And yes, we definitely enjoyed the time that our drummers had when they had their virtual drumming classes. Well, there you have it. We've got more coming along your way. Not forgetting, I will highlight it is now. Now we're going to move on to the panel discussion, volunteering in the digital era. And this is definitely a wonderful segment if you'd like to find out more. Now, for that, I'd like to hand over to our moderator, Mr. Richard Hatton, Vice Chairman, RSVP Singapore Corporate and Marketing Communications Committee. Now, Richard is a consultant with more than 20 years of experience in consumer financial services, primarily in Asia. He also works as a freelance writer for The Asian Banker and other media. Richard has a BA from Panoma College and an MBA from Stanford University. He volunteers with nonprofits in Singapore, including RSVP Singapore, the organization of senior volunteers, and he serves on various boards, including the Metropolitan YMCA and the Jane Goodall Institute. Now, Richard also authored Changing Lanes, Changing Lives, the first ever collection of stories about corporate leaders who have transitioned to become successful nonprofits champion. Now, before we start our panel discussion, just like to remind everybody who's on Zoom, we will be using the Zoom Q&A tab for our panel discussion. So if you may, just click on the Q&A tab that is at the top of the bottom of your screen, and you can, just shoot your questions if you have any. At the same time, you can also like to vote for the questions that you are interested in. So help us do a lot of likes too, as well as those on Facebook, if you're watching this. Now, if we're ready, let's hand over to the panelists as well as our moderator. Richard, please take over.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. Our panel is on embracing senior volunteerism in this digital era, and we could hardly have a better panel of experts that can address the question. Our panelists this morning are Dr. Ong Hak Sang, Deputy Secretary, MCCY, Dr. Fu Fong Fong, Executive Director of Philos Community Services, Mr. Ko Jae Wang, Chairman of RSVP Singapore, Mr. Martin Chu, Deputy Director of Smart Nation Digital Government Office, and Ms. Winnie Tan, Head of Community Engagement and Sustainability for Standard Chartered Bank in Singapore, ASEAN, and South Asia. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished panelists. Without further ado, I'd like to ask several questions. Starting out, can each of you please provide a 30-second description of what your role and background is? And then, in the context that only 15% of seniors volunteer, and the NVPC study showing that volunteering has dropped over the past several months amidst COVID, what are the top 2 or 3 suggestions you would have for overcoming any barriers and increasing the number of volunteers? Let me start with Hak Sang, please.
Thank you, Richard. My brothers and sisters, good morning. I must first congratulate Chok Ming and RSVP for an excellent MOU signing ceremony. You know, in these COVID-19 periods where everybody are sort of being confined, and because of we need to protect everyone of safe distancing, and yet against all odds, RSVP is leading the charge and say that instead of doing more, instead of doing less, you sign the MOU to do more. So my first message regarding to COVID-19 is this. My brothers and sisters, more people need helps, and more helps can be given by all of us. What are the challenges? Well, with of course, health is important, safety is important. We cannot compromise that. As much as we push for volunteerism, we must also take care of our volunteers. But between safety and volunteerism, it's not an either-or game. What requires us is to think of breakthroughs. How can we continue to volunteer and yet ensure safety for our volunteers? So this morning, you saw how the MOU was signed. You saw how the performance was done. Is there anything less? I'm quite sure you were excited as I am when I saw my senior volunteer dancing. I was about to dance in my room. Then my wife walked in and said, "What am I doing?" I said, "I'm exercising with my volunteers." Any less? No. That is an example of how we should think. We must not see this as a limit, but we must let our imagination expand and what I call work beyond the limit. And by only doing so, and that become the resilience, and with that resilience, we will be stronger even after the COVID-19. That's all I have, Richard.
Thank you very much. Feng Feng, can you give us a short background and then what you would suggest for increasing the number of volunteers, please?
Hi, good morning, Richard, and good morning, everyone. Thank you, RSVP, for this deep privilege of being able to be on the panel this morning. My name is Fang Fong, and I'm the Executive Director of Phylos Community Services. We are a SSA, a social service agency located at Kembangan, Chai Chee, and we are vested in empowering lives and building resilience of individuals and also of the community. So we help vulnerable elderly, especially the isolated elderly, and also vulnerable families in the Kembangan Chai Chee community. We also strongly believe in empowering and building the resilience of the community. So in March 2019, we were appointed the Volunteer Center for Bedok Town, and that has given us a bird's eye view and also given us the opportunity to be able to mobilize volunteers for the needs of beneficiaries in Bedok Town. So to answer, Richard's question about how we can actually increase senior volunteerism, I think we would have to do it in context of the current pandemic that we're living in. So the safety issues for seniors will definitely have to be considered. And with our work on the ground, as an SSA, we find that many of our senior volunteers actually want to get back, to volunteer, to, do home visits, to touch base, with the people that they had been visiting, pre-COVID days. But of course, the advisories prevent them from doing so. We are still told that volunteers above 60 are not encouraged, to have physical contact. But hopefully, as we control COVID, in our country, perhaps that can be, seniors can slowly consider in a very controlled way with safe distancing and with very small groups, just one senior volunteering with another isolated senior, for example, that perhaps, can start taking place as we open up into phase 2C and later into phase 3 as well. So I think as we move forward, the way of the physical volunteering will change. It won't be the mass thing that we've had in the past, but it could be the micro way, of one life touching another life. The other thought, of course, is, moving into remote volunteerism, where we seniors are encouraged to, volunteer in a remote way through the digital media. That certainly can take place. But what we do see on the ground as well is that quite a few of our seniors struggle with, all things that are IT. They're not familiar with Zoom, how to log in, and how to do the chats and how to use that effectively. So I think perhaps certain things need to go in as well, the training that needs to take place so that they are enabled to be more IT savvy and then to be able to contribute in remote volunteerism. Another piece that needs to go in, I think, is, really equipping social service agencies, because, when all the advisories came in, they all had to stop their activities. So we have lots of volunteers wanting to come in, but not so many volunteering opportunities. So I think the skill sets and the competencies and the capacity of the SSAs, we may need to help them as well to be able to receive volunteers once again.
Thank you very much. Excellent insights. Joy Meng, your perspective, please.
Joming, you are silent mode, Joming.
Sorry. Okay. Richard, can you give me the question again, just to be sure?
Sure. Just we have a little bit of your background, but the question is, what are some suggestions you'd have for overcoming the barriers that may inhibit people from volunteering? And what solutions do you have that can overcome some of those barriers?
I mean, during this pandemic?
Overall. Because
Overall.
the number of only 15% of seniors volunteer in Singapore. We've got another 85%. So
Sure.
why aren't they volunteering, and what can we do?
Well, if you look at some of the statistics that we have in RSVP, 65% of the volunteers, senior volunteers, are actually women, and 35% are men. So I always ask that question: why aren't men volunteering more? Why are they sitting at a coffee shop? So what can we do to entice, all these senior men to come forward and volunteer? I think the interesting thing about this is that there's no right or wrong. Some of them just want to do the things that they like to do. But the important thing is that for one to volunteer, especially from the RSVP context, is that senior volunteers, if you want them to come, actually they comes in pair, or it's actually a word of mouth. Or these days, just now I just heard 2 of my volunteers, they actually found RSVP through the internet. So the virtual world itself also presents now as a path, a way for them to find out volunteering activities and so on. And as the newer senior, the MG, right, these people are actually more savvy, right, younger. They actually are good at the digitization, surfing the net, using the handphones and so on. So this is one means of doing it. The other way is that we have to curate programs that meets what I call not the needs that we think the senior needs, but what do they want to do? Example, seniors these days, unlike the previous, more of the PG generation, they do not want to get themselves, attached to certain programs that they have to volunteer over regularly. For example, 3 or 4 times a week. That to them is a no-no, because they would rather choose and pick what they like to volunteer. That's when RSVP started about 5 years ago, what we call the episodic volunteerism, episodic volunteers. And this has actually catch up, because a lot of these seniors only want to volunteer, let's say, as and when you ask them whether you're free or not, they will just join in and volunteer, and that's it. I think that's very important. The next thing about attracting volunteer, which is important, is most of us, seniors or whoever who volunteers, will just say that, oh, I want to volunteer, but doesn't really know what is, the meaning of volunteerism or what volunteerism is all about. RSVP being RSVP, we are quite different. If you want to be a volunteer, we will have to put you through a training, right? A half a day, be an effective volunteer training, right? To make sure that you know the ropes, your roles and responsibility. More importantly, because of this, we have also started what we call an open house concept. Instead of just asking senior to come, we have seniors coming into this open house, whereby you will hear from the horse's mouth, we call it, fellow seniors who have volunteered before in different programs to talk to you about their volunteering experiences, right? And this will help them to understand. So this is a way RSVP is outreaching and trying to bring in the seniors.
Fantastic, thank you. And Martin, from a digital perspective, what is your background, and what do you think needs to be done to overcome some of the barriers and increase the number of volunteers, please?
Hi, good morning all panelists, and thank you for having me today. So I'm from the Digital Government Services, Singapore Digital Government Services Group, and I look over the Adoption and Engagement Directorate, and we try to drive adoption of technologies across Singapore and all Singaporeans as well. But to your question, I think I would like to contribute 3 U's, the letter U. And I think the first thing that we should be thinking about is upgrading, upskilling, and then uplifting. So what do I mean by that? So the first part about upgrading is to be able to get yourself a computer, get yourself a digital device like this, or get yourself an iPad, whatever that it is, in order for you to get online so that you can be able to stay connected and get connected with the rest of society as well. The second part, upskill, learn a new skill, learn how to use Zoom, learn how to be able to cook, learn how to be able to dance, and be able to use those new skills in order to be able to get it out to the audience that you have through your digital platform. And the third part, uplift, find a meaningful way in order to be able to engage with community in different ways, depending on your own skill sets. So I give you a good example. And when we talk about 3Us, the best way is to be able to galvanize everything to an example. And I think earlier this morning, SMS Janil had actually talked about this person who was called Steric. And Steric was a very interesting personality. Smart Nation was also doing Zoom lessons and so on at the beginning of COVID. And what happened was that Steric actually came to one of our Zoom lessons to try to learn how to use Zoom. And we taught him to say that, okay, you can click this button, you can be able to hold a panel meeting and so on. And after a while, we spent about 20 minutes with him and he said, okay, thank you very much. 2 days later, he came back and said, do you have any material on safe entry? So we said, yes, we do. So we have a website that we directed him to. He didn't need much guidance. He went to read it all up by himself. And 2 weeks later, to our surprise, we got an email from Zoom inviting us to attend a webinar. And he was going to conduct a webinar. I had no idea what the webinar was. He didn't clear it with any one of us, not even in the government itself. And when we turned up for the webinar, he was holding a webinar for Bukit Merah CC residents and also his fellow seniors and peers. And what was it about? It was to teach seniors what safe entry was and also how to be able to use safe entry to get into different places. He saw a gap, he found a computer, he came to upskill together with us, and he uplifted his community by teaching them how to get on board this entire digital movement. So this is a prime example of how we can be able to do this and encourage more volunteering to happen.
Fantastic, thank you. And Winnie, from a corporate perspective.
Yes, hi everyone. Thank you for having me. My name is Winnie Tan from Standard Chartered Bank. So actually about in 2012, that was when the bank was locally incorporated in Singapore. We've been here for actually over 160 years. We decided that we needed a uniquely Singapore community project that represented the needs of the society and how we could help. And clearly the whole aging population trend in Singapore was something that caught our attention. I mean, both from a social, economic, and other far-reaching impacts. And that was when we started Silver Lining. And we named it Silver Lining precisely because we saw the positive side of how seniors, how aging could actually be a resource to transfer back to the society. And interestingly, that was how we got in touch with RSVP in 2018. We thought it was very interesting that we were looking at seniors not as recipients of help, but also a resource to give back to the society, to the community, to apply their skills, their expertise, their time. And we thought, this is fantastic because the needs of the community will only get greater. You either think of smarter ways to solve issues or you think of expanding the pool of resource, which is to tap into senior volunteers. And that was when we started working with Dreaming and the team to develop senior volunteerism in Singapore. And I think what's really important is you have to also walk the talk. I mean, in the organization, we have probably about 8,000 employees in Singapore. And clearly, a lot of us are getting into a stage. I think the definition of a senior volunteer, you could start at 45, and many of us are in that category or approaching that. It's about thinking, what would be your next phase in life? You've been a corporate professional for X number of years. What would you like to do? And I think one of the most important things about thinking about next stage is, what ignites your passion and what would keep your brain active? Because I think that is so important in the whole active aging perspective. And this is how we sort of bridge what we believe, what's good for the community, how we can help, and I think also applying it to our employees. So in the bank, we have 3 days of employee volunteering leave where anyone, depending on your passion, you could go work at SPCA, you could go volunteer, you could go to a food bank, you could do and take leave for your volunteering time. And what we have actually done in the COVID period is we've added an additional day for everyone. So it's 4 days in the year 2020. And we're also pushing out virtual volunteering opportunities. So I think this ties in very well with what Martin has spoken about. I mean, the whole Smart Nation initiative is something that we think is really, really important. Since 2018, our colleagues have been volunteering to help seniors learn how to use their handphone, learn how to use the transport app, WhatsApp. I think keeping in touch and being able to use mobile technology is really important. And then we bridge it into the fact that our colleagues can be part of that and experience it themselves firsthand. So for example, I have colleagues who are IT guys in their day job, and then they volunteer at the digital clinics to help people learn digital skills. And then we also have virtual volunteering where I have a colleague, Jane. She is I'll just say that she's in her late 40s, and she has just started virtual volunteering because we couldn't do physical activities. And that was really, really great. I think it's about transforming with the times.
Fantastic. Well, let's bring it down to a very personal level. One of the things that I've heard when I've interviewed people is that what's really important is figuring out what your passion is and volunteering in that area, because that's going to be what's most meaningful, whether it's the elderly, the young, the disabled, the environment, or whatever else it is. So how can seniors and people more broadly, whether it's millennials or Gen Z, but how can people figure out which causes they're most passionate about and then connect with volunteering opportunities in that particular passion? So let me start with Joy Meng, and then we'll go on to the other panelists.
Okay, Richard, the answer to your question is that, as I said earlier, many times we think that's the needs of someone or the needs of the senior, but you must make sure that you curate something that meets the wants. That is what they want. So when a senior come and look for volunteering opportunities in RSVP, we'll tell them that, okay, these are the opportunities available, right? Then are you okay to volunteer? Many of them will tell you that, oh, I've never done it before, right? And I would like to try. That's when our open house comes in very handy. And I'll repeat that again, because you are actually hearing from a fellow seniors, volunteers mouth that this is what they have done, and this is what makes them happy, and maybe you like to join them. I think that's the best way, you know, to giving peer-to-peer examples, experiences that you share, and people will feel that more comfortable because, oh, he has done it before or she has done it before. I think if they can do it, I can do it too. Take, for example, IT knowledge. A lot of them tell themselves that when before they came, they say, I'm sorry, I have zero knowledge about IT. To give you an example, we have a lady here, a trainer, who has been with us for more than 6 years. When she first joined RSVP, ladies and gentlemen, she had zero knowledge of IT. Right? When she asked, you know, her family at home to teach her, everybody is not free. She came to RSVP, she started taking IT courses, right? Within 1 year, you know, she become what we call quite savvy. And the second year, she become a assistant trainer. And the third year, she become a full-time trainer. And now we call her a super trainer. She knows almost anything about IT that senior want to learn. So it really depends on what you want to do, right? When you come here, come with an open mind and tell yourself that you're prepared to learn. And one important thing is that you got to tell yourself, if my fellow seniors can do it, I can do it too. It doesn't matter.
Fantastic.
Right? Yeah.
Thank you. Hock Seng, what are your thoughts on how people find their passion and then connect with opportunities?
You know, today, the topics of the seminar is about how to empower senior citizens digitally. And the common approach will be that we make it accessible, available, both the technology, the hardware, and the software, and in some instances, the peopleware. My question always asked is this enough? Now, if we are pushing technology, this is enough. But if we are saying technology enable and empower senior citizens, this is not enough. Why? Because the digitization should be about what the senior citizen wants and needs. Now, we have not spent, it's very important, you know, is sometimes we like to talk about, you know, a lot of the gig stuff. But do you know what senior citizen wants? I give you a good example. I do not see technology as enabling senior citizens to what I call to be digitally savvy? Have you ever considered technology, actually the social part of technology, I like to call it? Technology enables senior citizens now to come and chit-chat together safely. Like Zoom, for example. Did I talk about Zoom? No. I talk about senior citizens need to come together to chit-chat. That's why we go to coffee shops. Drink coffee, yes, but what is the motive? The motive is to chit-chat. Another example of the needs by us socially is that, sometimes we like to help each other. Senior citizens in particular like to help. I can tell you, many of my uncles and aunties, they are not there. Please, don't go away telling people senior citizens are here to receive. No, 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 no. Many of our senior citizens are there to give, and they want to give. All of us have heard about tuition programs. And the first thing we jump is senior citizens, this tuition program, we get university to teach our PSLE students. But do you know that many of our senior citizens can actually teach? And it's also because they want to teach. So my point to you is this: as we go into the digitization, as we push for technology, please push from technology, not for technology's sake, but look at the social aspect. That's all I want to say. And with that social aspect, passion will step in. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And Feng Feng, how do people find their passion and then find the cause and organization to volunteer for?
I think that it's coming with a mindset that, when you reach your retirement years or when you reach your senior years, however you define that age, is that you are still in a mindset of learning and discovery. And for some seniors, they would be, very clear about what their passion is, and for them, you don't need to worry because they will just zoom in straight into the areas that they would want to volunteer in, and they would use their skills and their talents to volunteer in a skills-based kind of volunteering experience. But for those who may not be so sure, I would say that it's to encourage them to discover and to learn new things, and asking them would they like to work with children, with seniors or people with disability, and to just step in and try it, and as they do so, I think they will discover their passion. And I'm reminded of an elderly man that I met, and I met him in a class. He was actually conducting a Chinese painting class, and he was 80 and he was teaching 60 and 70-year-olds to actually do Chinese painting. So after the session, I went up and I chatted with him, and I was asking him, were you an artist, in your working years? And he said, no, he was actually, in a professional line. And when he retired at 60, he decided to go for a class, and do Chinese painting. And that was when he discovered that he actually enjoyed doing this. And, a little bit like the story that Mr. Cole mentioned just now of the lady who was discovering her IT skills. Well, this gentleman discovered his love for Chinese painting, and after a few years he was an instructor now. So I think that when we encourage seniors who are not so sure what their passion is, it really is to encourage them to just try it. And there are many platforms now where they could that they could go to get some help and advice on that. There's of course RSVP. There are now the volunteer centers that seniors could go to as well. If they're more IT savvy, they could go into the NVPC, giving.sg portals, and they'll find opportunities where they could actually try volunteerism, try volunteering. Yeah.
Fantastic, thank you. We'll ask Winnie from a corporate perspective, and then Martin from the digital office. So Winnie, how do you help people find their passion and the cause and the organizations?
So I think from a corporate perspective, we give all of us in the bank, we have 3 days, and now this year we have 4 days of volunteering leave. So you can go look for your own opportunities, or the bank actually organizes a whole calendar of events. And obviously, we would skew that to causes that we support. So it would be for seniors in Singapore, for education, to promote entrepreneurship, or to promote employment. So these are the causes that we care about. But we also welcome everyone to try things that they would like outside. So they can go to giving.sg, as Feng Feng has mentioned. And I think it's really about a mindset, and also about just trying. So I'll go back to the example of my colleague Jane. So with the lockdown and with COVID, we stopped physical volunteering. So what she actually did was she tried her hand at virtual volunteering, because we were also rolling out opportunities. There were these like citizen science projects where you could help Zooniverse check out, plants and animals and count penguins. You could help with National Heritage Board with the National Archivist project. And that was what Jane started with. And it was very interesting because she actually came back to tell me that she would have never tried that if not for the COVID period, if not for the fact that physical activities were not around. And she found that she actually had an interest. She felt very excited looking at the old documents, trying to translate it, trying to actually look for friends who could, know Thai or know Malay and help her do the documentation in terms of building that body of documents for NHB. And I think that was a new way of maybe also uncovering what you were able to do and what you were interested to do. So I think it's the mindset that you always have to be open to try new things. And I guess in Mandarin, you would say 活到老,学到老. You'll always be continuously learning and keeping an open mind.
Great. Martin, your thoughts?
Actually, I would like to maybe turn things a little bit on its head. And the question that I would have for all of us here is, how do we see volunteering to be in the future? For now, we have always seen volunteering the very traditional sense where all of us come together in a group and we sort of execute an activity in a group together, corporate volunteerism is like that. Or if you go to a specific organization to do so, and so on and so forth. But moving forward, could it be that each and every one of us has the capability to volunteer and help those who are around us in our own capacity, based on what the needs of the individuals are out there who are next to us? And I give you an example for this. So my mom, she has had difficulty trying to be able to use the SEQR in order to be able to scan for safe entry. And I had been teaching her over and over again, almost 5 times, on how to be able to scan the QR code and to be able to get in. And each time, she just can't be able to do it. Well, she's also of the senior age. But what happened was that she said, okay, you know what, since I can't be able to get on this, you know what I'll do is I'll just bring my IC along in order to be able to scan it via SENRIC, which is the Safe Entry NRIC. So we sort of, settled at that reasonable equilibrium. About 5 days later, she called me up and she scolded me. And I said, but why? What happened? And she said, well, one of my friends had actually sent me that there's this thing that you could do as a widget that you could put on the front of my handphone that enables me to check in and check out immediately at the places that I wanted to be in. And I asked, sorry, who's this friend? And she said, oh, it's this friend who's called Doris. And she actually went to go and watch this video, and she now learned from that video. And then now she told everybody in that group. And there was a group of 50 people in the WhatsApp chat. And now every one of them had actually did a screenshot and showed it to each other that, hey, we've all got that safe entry, check in and check out. Did anybody organize them to do it? No, they did it themselves. They saw a need, they addressed that need. And that's the interesting thing about technology, that we can be able to do it at our own time, at our own pace, but at the same time also be able to uplift others in the process. So those are my thoughts.
Excellent. Well, I think a number of people have pointed out how, especially during this period, there's a lot of ground up initiatives where seniors are teaching other seniors, or they're reaching out in a whole variety of ways. We're helping migrant workers, for example, we're helping the other seniors. So how can we sustain this momentum, make Singapore a caring and inclusive society, and get people to keep coming up with ideas, encourage them to have their own initiatives to meet the real needs in the community? Hak Seng, let me start with you, please.
Thank you, Richard. I want to share with you a story, and then you will realize why it's so important for us to make volunteerism purposeful. And once volunteerism is purposeful, I want to assure you that not only I will volunteer, if you don't ask me to volunteer, I will ask you why. I will chase after you. The story started with once upon a time. Once upon a time, I distribute food to a rented flat. I do now from time to time because now it's a bit too busy. And the uncle opened the door and I tell uncle, this is a bee-hoon. And this is healthy bee-hoon because we put a lot of bean curd and vegetables. And uncle looked at me and said, my lah, my. My mean in Hokkien means I don't want. So I scratched my head. I said, uncle, you need to eat. Then uncle replied to me, my lah, my lah, my lah. Finally, uncle admitted to me that somebody will be delivering chap chai peng, mixed rice to him, and he wanted chap chai. I'm angry and I'm sad. I am angry because someone should have told me that uncle will be delivered chap chai peng. Therefore, I should have used the bee-hoon and give it to someone else who need it. My effort go to waste whole morning, you know, and it becomes unpurposeful. But I'm happy because uncle didn't accept my bee-hoon. If uncle accept my bee-hoon, where you think the bee-hoon will go to? You will go to the dustbin because uncle cannot possibly eat both bee-hoon and chap chai peng. Or worse, if you keep the bee-hoon to at night, the bee-hoon go bad, uncle may have diarrhea. This story tells us that in order for volunteerism, the word purpose is key. And linked to purpose are three things that we must always be mindful. First is, I call it the situational awareness. We must know where the need is. If I go to a place where there's no need, then I think it's not purposeful. But awareness alone is not enough. You need opportunities. So I want to help. I need to know where are the helps, and I must be able to help. Able to help means what? Means to say that if I wanted to, for example, to help people with mental health. By the way, my brother and sister, mental health is a national issue now. With COVID-19, many of my uncles and aunties feel very much stressed out, depressed, you know. And if they are not engaged, I'm very worried for them. But can you just approach them and say, oh, do what you want? No. Mental health requires some capability between you and me. So whoever wants to volunteer to do mental health, please attend a short course on how to do proper engagement. Otherwise, you may do more harm than good, even though your purpose is good. And third, have to do with our charities and our non-profit sectors. Another reason why I want to help, I'm able to help, but no one wants me. You know, many of my charities or many of the NPO sectors, they must relook at what they are doing and ask themselves, can we create more meaningful volunteer opportunities? You know, a good example is, I'm not talking about retrenchment. I'm talking about getting your permanent staff to do higher order things, do a job redesign, and then unlock more volunteer opportunity, purposeful volunteer opportunity. And then guess what? Some of this can be targeted for senior citizens. Hey, I tell you, my uncle and auntie, when they volunteer, they're good, man. I give them 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
So my long story of this is there must be awareness, there must be opportunity, and there must be receptacle.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Feng Feng, how do we maintain this momentum and get these ground up initiatives continuing to really help the people that need it?
Well, I think that, you know, here, to me, I think we're talking about how we make, you know, volunteerism part of the DNA, you know, of our society.
Yes.
You know, and of all of us. And I think it has to start young. I think, you know, when I went to school, I do remember, especially in secondary school and later on in the university, that there were opportunities given to volunteer, with different beneficiaries. And I think because, you've got that experience from young, when you grow up in your older years, you continue to, do so, to volunteer at different organizations. So I think that, it has to be intentional, that we give those opportunities to our students in school and in the universities, that they are given opportunities intentionally to volunteer. The other thing that crossed my mind is that, I think we also all have to know that we have a shared humanity. And sometimes when we work with beneficiaries, we think that we are giving to them, but actually we all share this society together, and they have a contribution to society as well. And I'm reminded of stories, that I've read about, of certain communities where a large proportion of the people there are deaf. And, those who can hear may think that, oh, they are better off because they've got their sense of hearing, and so they need to help the people who are deaf. But what happened in these societies was that the hearing people learned sign language. And, the whole community then were then signing to each other, and being deaf was no longer a handicap because the whole community could communicate with one another in that way. So I think, in creating that awareness that Dr. Ang talked about, I think it's also creating this awareness that we have a shared humanity, and we are journeying along our beneficiaries to empower them. Then it becomes the natural thing to do. The informal volunteerism that Martin talked about will happen, and you don't need, and I think it can go alongside the formal volunteering efforts that we have. And perhaps that's a way that we can sustain, volunteerism and a caring society. Then, of course, I think it really helps if, there are policies that will encourage, volunteerism as well. So I really like what Winnie has in, in her bank, where you have 4 days, of volunteering leave. Perhaps on top of all the compassion leave and all the maternity leave and all the different kinds of leaves, that is now in the Employment Act, that the volunteerism leave goes in as well. And perhaps that's another way that we can, create that culture of continuing to care in our society.
Great. So let me ask Martin and then Winnie for comments. Martin, you've had some good examples in there. How do we keep that momentum going?
Well, I would actually like to maybe position something, and I would like to challenge the panelists here and even those who are watching today. In the past, my dad, who's currently 81 this year, he used to tell me that there was no such thing as volunteering in the past. And I was very puzzled. I was wondering, what did he mean? He said, in the past, volunteering was all part of being in a kampong. When you were in a kampong at that point of time, everybody helped each other. If you wanted to buy bread, you would just ask your neighbor, should I get a bunch of eggs for you? If you wanted to be able to go to the hospital or the clinic, somebody else, which is your neighbor, would be able to come by and say that, you know what, I'll just take care of your mom and I'll bring her along together with me. And over time, as we sort of went into modern society as we are today, we sort of lost a little bit of that kampong feel. And that's what a lot of, I think, our seniors are pining for that return of that kampong. It could be because, we now live in high-rise buildings, in condos and so on, and therefore there's a little bit of a separation. But what's interesting is that actually technology can be able to bridge that gap of being able to offer help just in time and in micro opportunities. And what do I mean for this? Is there a possibility for us as a community, even together with the technologists who are out there, to create perhaps an app which is called Grab Help, which means that if, let's say, there's an opportunity for us to help somebody who's less than 2 meters or 50 meters away from us, can we be able to institute that on immediately? So for instance, if my neighbor had an issue of being able to try to set up his printer, or a senior who's in my neighborhood was trying to set up a printer in his home because he needed to print an important document and it just got stuck and he can't get it done, can he be able to sort of click a button and be able to say, I need some help with this, and somebody will be able to immediately respond to him within half an hour? And these micro opportunities for help, if we can continue to do that on an informal basis, as and when people who are immediately within the vicinity are able to help each other, that builds what we can possibly call the new digital kampong, to be able to help one another and to be able to foster that relationships and to rebuild those communities that we sort of lost. So I would like to position this idea to all of us and to see whether we can actually make that a reality and make that happen. Technology makes a lot of things happen today. Maybe that could be the next frontier.
Excellent. I love that digital Kampong app. We'll be looking for it. Winnie, your thoughts?
Well, that is a volunteering on demand perspective using technology. I'm going to talk a little bit, I think, about the psychology and appealing to the human nature. So actually, when we do volunteering in the bank, in the pre-COVID times, what we actually do is, if you wish to volunteer, come, try it out. But also, if you want to bring your friends, your family, especially your kids, please do. And we felt that that was a very important piece for us, not just about creating a very positive experience. Sometimes, especially when it's a weekend volunteering event, getting the whole family out is like a little family outing, as well as an opportunity for people to bond and learn. And anecdotally, there are so many colleagues who come to me and tell me, thank you for the opportunity, it's really great. I think my children need to see what is beyond their lives, what is beyond our own experience in our own family, and this is invaluable because it's raw, it's authentic, it is life, you know. But also the other thing is, what we've always wanted to do is to create a very positive experience so that people will want to try. I mean, this is basic psychology. If you enjoy it, you will want to do it again. And then if you see a value, you see that you are doing something, I mean, that sort of clicks everything in place. And I think this is something that we always want to be able to create, not just for our own corporate volunteers, but I think it's all for all senior volunteers or any other demographic. So for example, when Dreaming talked about going for sessions where you listen to people share their experiences, learning how to do it. We've even talked about with RSVP in the pre-COVID days, trying to introduce our client base. So in the bank, we have a segment of clients called For My Way. This is targeted especially for clients who have a certain age group in the senior years. And we were talking about, can we introduce the concept of senior volunteerism to them? Because from a bank's perspective, we're not trying to just manage your financial health or your wealth management. It's about what do you want to do in your next phase in life, you know? What keeps you occupied, engaged, and what's interesting. So I would love to be able to still continue to do that when the conditions are safe and we're able to do that. But I think that's hugely important.
Excellent. And Joy Ming, I'd like to ask you a different question, which is from the Q&A. Victor Mills has asked, how does RSVP identify needs in the community? How does it address those needs? And how does it make sure it's not duplicating what other organizations are doing? So some background on RSVP, if you can, for us, please. You're on mute, Joy Ming.
If people who know RSVP, you will see that RSVP has changed quite a bit in the last 8 to 10 years, right? And why does this happen? To answer Victor's question. Victor, I know him, by the way. Victor, how are you? One is for RSVP to stay in alignment. Why did I say that? Right, for example, MG is now the talk of town, right? So we have to align whatever RSVP want to curate with what the NG wants, Medica generation. And that's very important, right? We talk about alignment. Secondly, we talk about our ability, RSVP, to adapt to the landscape change. What are the changes? During this pandemic, right? What happens? You cannot volunteer. Senior were told to stay at home, right? And stay safe. So what can we do? We started the Zoom session, right? And we started online learning. And when our seniors brought out the requirement, or the ones that we started the Zoom session, they said, look, I don't know how to use the Zoom. So we started what we call e-learning videos on using Zoom. Next, someone tell us, I cannot understand English. Can you do one in Mandarin? We did it. Next come another request. I need it in Hokkien. We did it in Hokkien too. And come the next request, we need it in Cantonese, and we did it in Cantonese. This is what I call adapting to the landscape change. The third item is to stay relevant. How can RSVP stay relevant? Very simple. With the MG coming in, the ones are different from the PG. Just give you a simple example on IT again. Sorry, I will go back to IT here because it's easier to illustrate, right? When you have the PG, they don't even know what a computer is about. Ask them to move a computer mouse is like, you know, something like taking a bus or hailing a taxi to them. So we have to do what we call basic computer classes. And when the MG now start coming in, we got to change the whole, some of the syllabus or some of the classes that we conduct. What we went into, microbit programming a microbit from BBC, you know, you can program the piece of PCB board whereby you can control your lights, you can become a sniffer, you can even detect when it's raining. Next, we go one step even further. We teach the senior how to program drones, to do drones formation flying. So this is called staying relevant. And Victor, yes, RSVP is always moving ahead of the pack. Now, another thing RSVP is curating now, which I did mention during my speech at the opening, that is, we're going to start a senior or smart wellness center. And how does it differ? Right, this center is going to be run by seniors, and it's not like any senior activity center. It's a center that uses technology so that the senior can learn and apply at the same time, like what Martin had mentioned about e-payment and all that, you know, SGQR. The senior can learn how to do e-payment at the Senior Wellness Center and then actually use it. At the same time, we may set up a small little cafe there. If they need to pay for their coffee, they have to go there and use their e-payment apps to actually do the payment. So this is an example of RSVP. How are we adapting? Yeah.
Fantastic. We're unfortunately coming close to the end of our panel discussion time for today. So let me ask each of you for, as a wrap up, what would be, in 1 minute or less, what would be the takeaway that you want people to learn from this session? So what is the 1 minute or less takeaway that's a key message? Hokseng, can we start with you again, please?
Yes, I think there's a lot of talks regarding to apps and how technology make volunteerism more effective and more efficient. I'd like to take my 1 minute to do an advertisement. And that advertisement is to introduce you to an app. This is called the SGK apps. I don't know where you can see. Let me see. I think I'm unable to do it. I think the only way to do it is to turn off my... Yeah, you can see these apps. This is known as the SGK apps. And if you look at the apps start with this SGK apps. You press the button of it, you can find all the opportunities that you wanted it. The reason why I want to highlight this to you is this, my brothers and sisters, is that today is about technology. There are issues regarding to what we call matching, regarding to where you want to help and where help are needed. And one way technology can do it very well is actually enable the individual up to individual level. So if you have not downloaded this app, please download the SGK apps.
Fantastic.
It will empower you. That's
Excellent.
all I have as an advertisement.
Thank you. Feng Peng?
I think that we should take bite-sized steps, but definite steps to help seniors to be comfortable with IT. Have a progressive training for them so that they are comfortable with IT so that they can move to remote volunteerism. I think that, a few SSAs with the capacity, they are already curating, job descriptions for remote volunteerism. They are creating resources, and we've heard about many of it this morning. So I think a way forward is really for us to share those resources on our websites with each other so that we can journey together together and we don't have to duplicate efforts, and definitely to collaborate with one another. And I think if we do that, we will be able to go further and faster together. Thank you.
Fantastic. Martin, 1 minute takeaway?
I think my 1 minute takeaway would be that seniors have a lot more that they can continue to give. And I would like to sort of, again, share a very short story. So as Smart Nation, we actually go down to road shows and so on to be able to try to teach people about different apps and so on. And I have one handicap, and that handicap is that while I can speak English and I can speak a little bit of Mandarin, but I'm very bad at conversing in Mandarin itself. So what has happened is that I had an RSVP volunteer who was there together with me. And she said, don't worry. When it comes to any Mandarin speakers, I will come and guide them through the entire way. All you just need to do is to tell me how does this thing work, and I'll be able to do the translation for you. And you see, seniors of that generation are extremely multilingual. I have an Indian lady who can speak Hokkien. I have Malay ladies who can be able to speak Cantonese. And all of them are willing and very willing to be able to come on board together with us. And they still have so much more to give. So
Excellent.
That's my last comment.
Excellent. Winnie?
I think when we talk about the digital era, I think it's really important to think also about what medical technology and better nutrition and better economy has given us. It's given us the ability to actually extend our lifespan. We have more years where everyone is going to be healthier and be able to be productive. And I think it's important to think about what you want to do. I mean, obviously, from a bank perspective, you think about your financial health, but it's also about your physical health and, importantly, your mental health. So having that purpose of what you want to do in the future is very important. And I think volunteering can plug a gap. It may not be the solution, but it can be a very effective one. And I think everybody should at least think about it, make use of all the opportunities available, and at least try it. If you never try, you'll never know. Thank you.
Excellent. And Meng, for the wrap up, please.
Well, I think to me it's very simple. I will do a bit of selling later. For seniors to adopt digitization, number one, you have to adopt the right attitude and mindset towards digitization. Number two, you have to adapt to the landscape environment change, because everything around you is changing. Whenever you, these days when you go to hawker center, you may have to pay using your handphone, correct? So you have to adapt to the landscape. Third is to acquire the right skill and technology. And here I'll do a bit of selling. If you need to learn more about IT skill, please come to RSVP at Junction 8. And here we will be able to teach you the right thing to do.
Great. So we've heard excellent opportunities today, ways to do it on a personal basis, ways that we can all help. Thank you very much to our distinguished panelists for your tremendous insights. Thank you to the audience for the questions and for staying with us this whole time. Thank you, and let me hand back to the moderator, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
Well, thank you so much. We hope that you've also enjoyed our panel discussion, volunteering in the digital era, together with our moderator, Richard, as well as our panelists. Once again, I would like to give big thanks to our panelists as well as our moderator. Thank you so much for bringing forth the highlight of this morning's program. Well, continuing on, we've got more exciting breakout sessions for you to participate at during the afternoon program. Yes, every hour we're going to bring forth all the wonderful programs that you can also be a part of. Now, for those of you who hadn't registered, you can also continue to call this number or WhatsApp our registering hotline at 9040-5695. It's 9040-5695. Now, do be sure to register yourself, because we've got our virtual talks that is going to be conducted by our government agencies as well as our other social service agencies. Now, of course, we'd encourage those of you who hadn't, tried your hands at volunteering, which is an absolutely meaningful journey, and also lots and lots of rewards along the way, making new friends, making a life more exciting, filled up with all the activities as well as lifelong learning journey. Now, yes, we'd like to encourage one and all, and if you'd like to find out more on all these exciting opportunities that RSVP Singapore offers, do visit our website at rsvp.org.sg. Well, with that, I'd like to thank everybody once again. Thank you all. Those of you who have joined us on Zoom, and those of you who are watching on Facebook as well as YouTube, thank you for viewing this program with us. Now, we've come to the very end of our morning's segment, but of course, the afternoon continues to bring forth very interesting virtual programs. Do stick around with us and register yourself. And with that, on behalf of everybody here at RSVP Singapore, we'd like to wish you a very happy day ahead and continue to do meaningful, great works. Happy weekend too, and we'll see you next. Zooming out.